it's because of this company. And I remember there's one person that I know who recently sold their shares. So she said that she's going to be listening.
Yeah.
Succinctly put, the reason why I keep Naspers because I'm convinced that Naspers has positioned itself to be a company for the future because of the strong portfolio in every single thing that touches our future.
So you still think that there's growth that is going to come from the companies that they own, or do you think they're going to buy the growth by acquiring other companies? I mean, we've seen a lot of M&As, mergers and acquisitions from Naspers, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that strategy is going to continue to actually get growth, or do you think that a Takealot is going to grow and provide more growth, or PayU or Udemy?
Yes.
Where do you think the next growth phase of Naspers is going to come from?
Well, at the moment, the big moment is the structure is a little bit complex, but I'll try I'll try to simplify it. So Naspers owns an overwhelming majority of a subsidiary called Process.
Yeah.
In fact, it used to be part of Naspers.
Welcome to the third episode of the Investment Candle.
Episode 3.
Yeah, I'm still here. I know a lot of people said and thought that I'm actually a guest on a podcast. No, guys, I'm actually a host on this podcast.
Yep.
And as usual, I'm not alone. I'm with the tech guy. I call him the tech guy, but we do investments together.
Yes.
So how's it, brother?
It's all well, man. It's
Yeah.
all well. It's been very eventful. A couple of things happened over the past 14 days.
Yeah.
But we're going strong. Keep on keeping on. You? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm well, man. It's just been cold and wet
freezing.
in Cape Town.
It's been freezing.
And it's quite you can't really do anything.
You
can't really do anything.
You just have to sit down and read financial statements.
I hate doing that, but I do. I hate doing that, but I do.
Sure.
But nonetheless, you celebrated your birthday. How was it, man?
I did. On Monday, the 10th of July. I turned 30. 30 years old. And I spoke to some of my colleagues earlier on. They said that it all goes downhill from there. So I haven't looked for my walking stick yet.
Yeah.
But everything is going well. But I'm not the only one to have celebrated a birthday over the last 10-day cycle.
Yeah. No, but surprisingly, I didn't know your birthday was literally 4 days after mine.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
The stars align, my brother.
They do. They do.
But let me tell you a story about my birthday. Like, I didn't do a lot of things. What did you do for your birthday?
I did the whole free thing. Free Cape Town. So free cable ride up Table Mountain and back.
Yeah.
But I didn't spend not even 1 minute up there. I just wanted to go up and down.
Yeah.
And then I did the free aquarium.
Yeah.
The Two Oceans Aquarium. Free entrance. And then I did the Cape Wheel as well.
Wow.
Free entrance as well.
Wow.
And by the time I was
Did you eat anything for free?
Yes, I did. There's some restaurants that kind of offer some specials when it comes to your birthday. So they give you like a free drink, some give you free donuts. And so it was just free.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. No, I didn't do a lot of free things.
Yeah.
Because I've been around in Cape Town for almost 10 years. So you can imagine I've done a lot of those things that you've done. And I've seen it a couple of times. So it's like...
The novelty has worn off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, what can I do? So I took myself out for lunch.
Cool.
I enjoyed some lunch alone.
Self-care, self-love. We're not going to call that loneliness.
And then, weird enough, I bought myself new bedding for my birthday. So speaking to my
themselves new bedding for their birthday.
It's something unconventional, right? So I'm like,
Clearly.
Look, I just need to buy myself something special. I bought myself new bedding. Cool. My mother thinks it's weird, but it is what it is.
I agree with your mom.
It is what
Mom,
it is.
I agree with you. It's strange.
It is what it is. But anyway, I think just to pose that, like, thank you for the love. We are on 93 subscribers at the recording of this episode.
Yeah.
We have moved to multiple digital platforms now.
Yes, we have.
Which ones and which ones again?
So we are on Spotify. If you get your podcast on Spotify, search Investment Candle Podcast. on Google Podcasts, and we are on YouTube Podcasts. We're working on getting onto Apple Podcasts. So
for
please,
those Apple people.
for those Apple people,
Yeah.
those people. Well, we love you. We love you. And we are trying to get on there. So soon and very soon we are going to be on there. But check us out on YouTube. Please subscribe. Like I was thinking, like with the subscription, it really is a win-win. I mean, it doesn't really cost you anything. And by you giving us a subscription, we can give you better content. We can invite high-profile guests. Our setup can change. So please, if you're not going to do it for us, do it for yourself.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like subscribe with your laptop, your 2 iPads, your Samsung iPad, well, Samsung tablet, right?
Yes, the tablets.
So that we can get those numbers up.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got a new exciting feature.
Yes.
I'm excited about what we're going to talk about, man. I think this should be interesting conversation.
Very interesting.
We have actually launched what we're calling a portfolio check.
Yeah.
That is when we actually took the investment candle and put it into practice. So what we did, Nyiko went and actually carefully chose 2 of his stocks.
Yeah.
And then I also chose 2 of my stocks. You can already guess.
ShopRite.
And then and we invested, right?
Yeah, we did.
We bought in 2 weeks ago, is it?
About 2 weeks ago, we put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah.
You know, with many podcasts, it's sometimes it can get too bland in that it's always theory. But we wanted to show a practical element on our podcast, and we put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah.
We came together and we clubbed money together and we invested together.
Yeah.
There is an element of teamwork, but there's also an element of competition.
Exactly.
I want my companies to outperform your companies. It is not a secret.
And as we will show somewhere down here or somewhere, you'll see that at the recording of this episode, someone's companies were the ones that were decreasing the portfolio value, you know? So I'm keen to understand what is going on.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
I'm keen to understand. But I think the first and foremost, let's talk about the first company that you chose.
Yeah.
You chose Capitec to invest in.
I did.
Is it because you own a bank account at Capitec? I believe Capitec is a fantastic business. I believe that they've done well for themselves in terms of growing that company and just the mindset of management as well. So what was the thinking when you actually thought, let me invest in Capitec?
Yeah. So... yeah, man. I think you also you started with it. You mentioned it in episode 1, how it's important to invest in things that you understand.
Yeah.
That's profound and it's true. So not only am I a shareholder in Capitec, but I'm also a depositor in Capitec.
So the $1 million that you made from Sasol is there?
No, it's not there. But I think for the purpose of this feature, the portfolio check, it was important for me to actually to lead by example, in that we say that it's important to invest in something that we know. I understand Capitec, not only from just the theoretical side, but from a practical side. I have incurred those bank charges that I see in the profit and loss statement. I've seen it. I have a good understanding of the model and of the target segment. So with the target segment, let's actually speak about that.
Yeah.
It's no secret, and sometimes it has come to as a subject of controversy, which I don't quite understand. So it is targeting the lower to medium SCM. It's not called LSM anymore. It's SCM, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What does it stand for?
It is.
Do you remember?
I forget the full. But yeah, we'll put it on. We'll put it on the video.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's SCM now.
Okay.
And how they played it, they now have 20 million customers.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. But how they played it is that they saw a market which was not banked at all. And they were deemed as too risky to bank. And they went in there and they offered the most basics of service in that offering a savings account. Okay.
Yeah.
And they did that and they stole the lunch of the current big players in the banking market. And as a result, they were hugely rewarded from it. So Capitec, they have a strong, large customer base. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. They have a strong customer base. They are going into business banking. In fact, they've gone strong into business banking by the purchase of Mercantile Bank, of which they're going to turn that over into Capitec Business Bank, if I remember correctly.
Do you have confidence on the management to actually turn around Mercantile into a success? Do you think they can replicate the success that they did with the Capitec Bank, the core bank, in the corporate space?
Big time. I do. In fact, I've met a lot of the management team. A lot of the management team who were part of the founding group, they have now retired. But the second wave, which have been led so valiantly by Mr. Gerrie, they've done a fantastic job, man. The technology base.
He's a very interesting guy.
He's interesting. I think he's brilliant. And I think he knows what he's doing. So with that, I think that's the next phase of growth of Capitec. Of Capitec. It's in the thousands. So in absolute rand terms, it is deemed as a bit expensive. I still think that there is room to grow, especially because of the business bank play. Combined with the current customer base with over 20 million customers, I think that's a bank which has positioned itself to be a bank for the future.
Okay.
I think that's the long and short of Capitec. I think let's get to you now.
I still have questions on Capitec, but yes, let's talk
about
me.
It's fine.
Let's talk about me.
It's fine. I think everybody knows. Everybody knows that you are a big fan of ShopRite. Like, let's just say it. You're a huge fan. You're a fanboy of ShopRite.
Yes.
And because you're a fanboy of ShopRite, it made it onto your portfolio. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. No surprise there, though. No surprise there.
Tell us a little bit about ShopRite.
Yeah, I think what made me choose ShopRite, as I speak about it a lot, one, I think I'll just give you the investment case, which is kind of like the rundown of things that I believe about ShopRite, right? One, if you look at the margins that ShopRite makes, right? The business model of ShopRite it's a little bit different to all the other grocery companies, right? The retail companies. So if you look at Pick and Pay, they've got a mixed business model. They've got a franchise model, and also the ownership where they own the stores, right?
Yes.
And you've got a Spar. Spar Group is also like purely a franchise business, right? And then you've got Woolies as well. It's more towards higher market, right? Area, customer base. But what ShopRite has done, which I believe it's really fantastic what they've done, is to actually own majority of their stores. So they don't have franchise at all.
It's true.
They own and operate their own stores, right? And for some reason, because of that, right, they were able to maintain the margins that they make. By margins, I mean from gross profit, that's when your direct costs, you take your revenue and less your direct costs, and then you get your margins. Even at the bottom, they're able to do 6, 7, 8% of margins. In retail terms, that is huge, because what really retail is, you go and buy and sell.
That's it.
You don't really improve anything in between, right? So say, for instance, if you're going to get a Tiger's brand product.
Tiger Brands.
Yeah, Tiger Brands product.
Yeah.
What is it that ShopRite is going to do to that product? Nothing. Right? They're just going to take it and put it on their shelf, right?
It's true.
And what they're really selling is the customer base that they have. That's why they're able to kind of minimize the margins and stuff. But in short, one, they've got fantastic margins compared to all the rest of the
margins,
retailers. Yes. Secondly, they've got really good management. Right?
You're a fan of their management.
I am a good fan of their management. And I'm not just talking about at the exco level only. Even like I used to speak to kind of the management at the different regions and regional levels.
Do you have confidence in Mr. Engelbrecht, the current CEO?
I think he still has some
huge shoes to fill. They are so large, man. He takes over from a retail giant, not only in South African terms, but world terms.
But also, even the vision that he has, right? I think when you listen to him during results presentations, you can hear that this guy actually knows retail.
Yes.
Because what we used to say in asset management is that retail is detail. Right?
Retail is detail.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. I love that.
Knowing your detail about retail is the one that is going to save you cost, increase your margins, and make money for shareholders.
Yeah.
And then that's when you see my profit going up.
This guy, you will see. Like, this is a long-term game. It's a jog, and it's not a sprint. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think I don't think Checker 6060 or their online market is going to be much larger. I don't think in South African terms, the online grocery shoppings or online shopping, it's going to be majority of shopping than the bricks and mortar. That's just my opinion. I
disagree.
I don't think it's going to be a much like 20-40% of the market. I don't believe that.
What? Okay.
And reason being that the pass on of delivery cost into the customer, that is still a big hurdle. But if there's going to be innovative ways that is going to solve that that delivery fee, because how many people actually go into a basket and when they're about to check out, they look at the delivery fee and they bind in the basket?
No, but there are ways to get around that, I think.
But that's what I'm saying. Like right now, and what I've seen in the market, I do not believe that they're going to save enough, because also saving the delivery cost for the customer and also making the money for the business, because also that's a cost in your value chain.
I'm not sure. I think maybe it's because of my tech background, my very limited tech background. Is I think as far as the rands and cents that follow the technological innovation, I think they will fall into line. I think what we can't really disagree on is that we're headed from analog to digital in almost 100%. In every sense of the word. 100%. More shopping is happening online. E-commerce is a thing, and I think it's only gonna continue to grow. And I think as a beneficiary, because you are a ShopRite shareholder, you have been a beneficiary of that.
Yes.
So I find it quite weird how you're saying that it's not going to grow.
No, I'm not saying it's not going to grow. It's literally the Checker 6060. The last time I checked the numbers, it was about, or let's say the e-commerce business of ShopRite. It was under 10%, right, of total sales.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Of total sales.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is I don't believe that online or e-commerce business of ShopRite is going to grow to contribute 20%.
So 40%. You're speaking strictly on e-commerce in the context of ShopRite, not necessarily e-commerce as a whole.
Not necessarily e-commerce as a whole.
Okay.
That's a different things. I have different opinions as well. Sure. So e-commerce as a whole. But in terms of ShopRite Group, or generally on the retail sector, I do not believe that e-commerce is going to be a significant contributor of total group sales on any of the companies.
Fantastic. We live and die with our decisions and our opinions. So I'm sure, like with my take on Capitec and your take on ShopRite, I'm sure there are going to be listeners and viewers that will have different
opinions. And
we invite them. We invite that thing.
I'd like to hear what people are thinking. On the comment section to say, like, is my thinking misaligned? Did I get it totally wrong in terms of ShopRite? But also what I like about it is it's also they have a very entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
Right. So they don't mind building from ground, right? Like for instance, they just entered the baby market. They're selling the baby goods and all of those things. It's a very interesting difficulty market to enter, right? And they're building that from ground up. And also they just got into apparel, right? What Pick n Pay has done on Pick n Pay clothing, it's fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Because clothing has higher margin than food.
Yes, it
right?
does. It does.
And what ShopRite is doing now, it's kind of trying to diversify more and play into those spaces.
Fantastic.
And also now they've entered into the pet stores. They're selling pet food and all of those things.
Yes.
So you can see the vision is there to actually build from scratch and diversify. So it will be interesting to see. I think there's still a lot of growth that is going to come out of the company. And that's why I like it.
You know, like on ShopRite, I think my favorite thing about ShopRite, why it does have a special place in my heart, is that it employs over 155,000 people.
Yeah.
Now, that is absolutely brilliant. I don't think there's any other corporate player in South Africa that employs more people than ShopRite. In
Yeah.
fact, the only employer which has more people in the stable more than ShopRite, it's the it's the state. And that's brilliant. It just goes to show that this thing, it's not a game. It's something which is very, very fundamental. And because of your capital, which you've invested in, you're furthering the progress and the prosperity
of it.
Yeah, man. No, I hear you. ShopRite, very, very compelling. If there was a retail play, which I could do, it would be either Pick and Pay or ShopRite.
Is that?
Yeah.
I think in terms of my rankings, right? If I had to rank them, I'd rank ShopRite, Spar. You know why I'm saying Spar? Because Spar, Southern Africa, right? Or a Spar Group. Let's just call it Spar Group because that's the holding company. They've got presence in Europe.
They
in
do.
Ireland.
In fact, they're from Europe.
Yeah. So in Ireland, Poland, and all those different areas, right? They have got room to actually grow in Europe. And what happens if they are growing in euros, imagine the value that they're creating for shareholders when it gets translated back into rands.
So I hear you. I hear that. But I think ShopRite and I think Spar is the antithesis of ShopRite in that the ownership structure is completely opposite.
Yeah.
ShopRite, it's owned by a corporate, and Spar is completely owned by
franchises.
And I think having a situation where only the franchisees are running the show and they're owning everything, I think it's dangerous.
You think so?
I think it's a wild west. There's a lot of innovation. It's dynamic.
This man says it's the wild west.
It is. It's like a fire, like that. You instead of like you have to want a bit of control.
Yeah.
And that's why when I go to Palabora or when I go to Zerast, it's always different pricing, and even the placement of the products is different. I'm just like, nah, this is not for me. I prefer the ShopRite method.
Yeah,
and I think
you know why
is Pick and Pay.
You know why I like Spar.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Spar, even though with their with their model of franchises, right, they don't force the franchises to shop from them because they're a distribution company.
Yes,
right,
correct.
So they don't force them to kind of buy from the distribution chain of Spar. So the rule is if you own a Spar, right, you're able to buy from competitive things, from competitive suppliers, right? However, you find that there's a huge chunk of those entrepreneurs or those Spars that actually buy from that. And that means that they're competitive. They constantly reinvent themselves and be able to compete in the market. If you look at the track record, right, they've got, I forgot what the term is, right? They've been able to get like 70%, 80% of their franchisees to actually buy from them, even though they are not forced to do so, to buy the products from them. Yeah. So that speaks to the success of management, right? If they don't have a signed contract to say, Nyiko, you're forced to buy from me, being your franchisor, and you still come back to buy from me, it means that I'm doing something right? I've got this thing.
I understand.
I'm competitive.
No,
and that's why I love it.
Get it.
It's the success that they've been able to replicate for so many years.
I get it. I just don't like it. But I think I think I'm not a big fan of
franchises
of that model. I think it's too.
So my rating is ShopRite, Spar, Woolies, Food, and then Pick and Pay.
Cool. I think let's go to the second companies.
Yeah.
My second company was Naspers.
Oh my goodness.
It was Nasionale Pers.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Founded in 1915.
Why Naspers? Why Naspers? I mean, I understand it's the biggest company. If it moves, the market moves in South Africa.
Yeah.
But why?
So this is again me taking a punt at the future.
Mm.
This is looking at the future. Whenever I make an investment, I really have the future in mind.
Mm.
As to how does the world look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
Mm.
How is business done? How is life done?
Mm.
And if you look at every facet of life that we face as human beings, Naspers will touch us in one way or the other. Futuristically. Okay, let's start off with the portfolio. So, okay, for those who don't know, Naspers is it's an investment holding company. It's an investment holding company. I know they describe themselves as an operator, but more so an investment holding company. And the companies that they hold, these are the companies that are going to affect everybody's future, and not only in South Africa, but the entire world. I'll get into what they have in their portfolio.
So if we had to define what an investment holding company is to those listeners that actually don't understand, what would you say it is?
An investment holding company is a company of which their business model, so their business model is how they make money.
Yeah.
So investment holding company, the business model is to hold other investments, and how they make money is when their investments make money and declare dividends. And also their value goes up, and they realize those capital gains as fair value adjustments in the upward trajectory.
Yeah.
So that all hits the profit and loss statement.
Yeah. Okay.
That's in essence is the business model. And because of their stakes in these companies, they can place their people on these companies' boards. So maybe that's where the operator side of Naspers comes into it, because they do have that influence to actually make strategic decisions in these companies.
So let's say I have a company that I'm running, and then Naspers comes and invest in my company.
Yeah.
They take a significant stake in the company, or what we call ownership, and they want to be part of the board to kind of influence the decisions in the company that I own. Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically it. Another one is Remgrow, which I'm a big fan of, but literally their business is to invest in other people's businesses. PSG, they do it very well. Their business is to invest in other businesses. So going back to Naspers, their portfolio is very, very compelling. Not only in South Africa, but all over the world. So their portfolio is comprised of four or five compartments, if you can say that.
Okay.
It's classifieds. They call it classifieds, but we call it e-commerce.
Okay.
Food delivery. Fintech.
Yeah.
And edutech. Now, fintech obviously speaks about online payments and basically all the financial stuff that is done with a strong technological underbase.
Okay. While you're on that, right?
Yeah.
I want you to make an example on each of those buckets that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Say for someone that doesn't know, say if we're talking about fintech, you probably have heard of this company.
Sure.
It's under that bucket. If we're talking about edutech, there's this company. It's under that bucket. And if we're talking about et cetera, of those buckets. Yeah.
No, great question. So let's start off with classifieds, online classifieds. E-commerce. Have you heard of a company called Takealot? Yes. So yes, that company called Takealot.
Yeah.
Very, very, very fantastic company.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's owned by Naspers.
I don't know what that company is. I've never heard of it.
You've heard of it. I'm pretty sure you.
What do they sell? Hey, do they sell food? What is it?
Well, hey, yeah. So so Takealot. So that falls part of e-commerce. So that's under their classified, but that's locally. Then you get to food delivery. I'll give you another South African example, Mr. D. They own that as well. Okay. In Brazil, a company called iFood. It's owned by Naspers. Okay, that's food delivery. Then we get to edutech. Udemy is owned by Naspers. And then when we get to fintech, PayU is owned by Naspers. So all of these companies that we make use of, whether it's to get food or whether it's to buy our computers or whether it's to get that that online qualification, we touch, or rather Naspers touches you in some way, shape, or form.
Mm.
And that's why I think it's very, very important. In
Mm.
fact, this is the company, just to reveal a little bit, this is the company that's actually in the red for me now.
Mm.
So the reason why Tshifhiwa can actually gloat and laugh, it's because of this company. And I remember there's one person that I know who recently sold their shares. So she said that she's going to be listening.
Yeah.
Succinctly put, the reason why I keep Naspers because I'm convinced that Naspers has positioned itself to be a company for the future because of the strong portfolio in every single thing that touches our future.
So you still think that there's growth that is going to come from the companies that they own, or do you think they're going to buy the growth by acquiring other companies? I mean, we've seen a lot of M&As, mergers and acquisitions from Naspers, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that strategy is going to continue to actually get growth, or do you think that a Takealot is going to grow and provide more growth, or PayU or Udemy?
Yes.
Where do you think the next growth phase of Naspers is going to come from?
Well, at the moment, the big moment is the structure is a little bit complex, but I'll try I'll try to simplify it. So Naspers owns an overwhelming majority of a subsidiary called Process.
Yeah.
In fact, it used to be part of Naspers.
Yeah.
So Process is basically the international play at all of those things that we spoke about.
Yeah.
And then Process owns a company in China called Tencent. Now, for those that are wanting to know, what does Tencent do? Basically, anything that is remotely related to technological entertainment in China. It's one of the largest companies in the world. 26% of that entire company is owned by Process, of which more than 50% of Process is owned by Naspers. To answer your question, where is the growth going to come from? The growth is going to continue coming from Tencent.
So you think Tencent is still...
It's still the cash cow.
The cash cow.
It really is still the cash cow.
And they have been selling down.
They have been. In fact, it's been really smart because they really want to achieve some sort of value parity. At the moment, there's a lot of mismatch. It's called a consolidation discount, which I don't want to get deeply much into it.
Yeah.
But they want to limit that. And a way on how you can actually limit that is by selling off a piece of your largest cash cow. But it's good. I mean, like, you're selling it for cash. It means that that's another value add for Naspers, and that Naspers is going to be armed with so much money and that they can actually spread it out and buy the biggest and best assets around.
So the value discount that you're talking about, maybe if I can break it down.
Yeah.
As Naspers is a investment holding company, it means that if you had to sell each asset individually, you would get more than if you're actually selling it as a whole, right? So that's the value disconnect that they're trying to bridge.
100%.
But interesting. One last question. I think it's a very difficult one.
Sure.
Tencent, you think it's still the growth that will drive Naspers growth?
It's still the engine,
Given that it's in the Chinese market, right? And China has one of the toughest regulations,
100%.
more especially on tech, right? So because Tencent even have gaming and all those things.
They have gaming.
So we've even seen regulations that, well, I don't want to call it ridiculous, but interesting regulations.
Let's call it interesting.
Where they even limit the use of online gaming, the time even, right? Do you think that the regulation is going to hamper that growth? And do you think that Tencent has the ability to work around all of that, to reinvent and stuff like that?
Yes, I do. In fact, I wouldn't have invested it if that was the case. The thing is that, like, as much as regulation has or comes to the fore with good intentions, sometimes the outcomes may be slightly negative, especially when there's too much regulation. I disagree with you when you say maybe it's ridiculous. Sometimes it actually can be necessary. But I think let's focus on the fundamentals of Tencent. It's fine to look at the existential stuff that surrounds it, but I don't think that's going to stop the driving force of a growing tech company in the second largest, if India is the largest, second largest population in the world. It keep on growing. And if we are saying that the world is going to continue being more digitalized, Tencent, amongst others, such as Alibaba, these are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of the ever-growing population and economy of China. Yeah.
Okay. And in the last 2 weeks that we've bought, just to have the numbers with me, Naspers is down.
This is so wrong.
Naspers is down 2%.
Okay.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Capitec is up 2%. So there's a little bit of a net off in there. And my company
this
of
is
choice,
so wrong.
my company of choice, this is going to be put somewhere.
Yeah.
My company of choice, which is ShopRite, it's up 6% ever since we bought. Right? And the next one that I'm going to talk about, which is Discovery, it's up 2%.
This is so wrong.
I'm growing our portfolio.
Like this is 2 weeks. Okay.
I just needed to gloat on that. Okay.
This is 2 weeks.
I just needed to
it's fine. You can have it. You can have it. Like, you can
Let
have this.
me have my moment.
No, it's fine. You can have it.
But
so Discovery.
Yeah. So Discovery, before I get into Discovery, right? I just wanted to say the time frame that we have invested on in the past 14 days, I don't think it's sufficient enough for us to actually measure success or failure, right? Yeah. It's just really to show who has gotten the best of choice
guy.
So far.
No, you know what? Let me stop. You deserve it. You are the winner in this round. We'll see. We'll see who comes back in the next round.
Okay,
it's a good boxing match.
So Discovery. Yeah. My investment case on Discovery really is one, the guys, the management of Discovery, very entrepreneurial, right? They're able to build businesses from ground up, right? That speaks to even the fact that the founder of Discovery is still sitting on the at the board, right?
I love the founder.
Still CEO today.
Yeah.
So that I love that the culture is still embedded there, right? At Discovery, the ability to build businesses and different elements of it from the ground up.
Yeah.
And just also the fact that they have got this bank that they built from scratch.
Discovery Bank.
Discovery Bank.
I'm a depositor.
You also you depositor.
Yes.
I closed my bank account from Discovery. I was like,
okay, close the bank account, buy the shares. Go.
Yeah. So, but I believe that that bank is still undervalued in the market, right? They're still wishy-washy in the market as to whether or not Discovery is going to make success of that bank. And therefore, the value of Discovery Bank is not yet fully reflected on the share price of Discovery as a whole.
Okay.
So that for me is a big thing, right? Because I believe that Discovery Bank is worth more than what the market is pricing it at.
Because of Discovery Bank.
Partly because of Discovery Bank, but also other things that I believe there's still growth on. Discovery reinvests all the time, right? Like even their insurance product, right? They kind of working on that. Even the ability to acquire insurance product at a cheaper rate, because the technology kind of makes it easy to kind of predict claims, because this insurance it's a numbers game,
it's
right?
It's an actuarial game.
It's really a numbers game, but also just at the core of encouraging their customers to actually drive safely, all those things that limits the claims. Because really, what the business on insurance is, you take people's money, you go and invest it in the hope that they're not going to claim.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So there's a lot of inventions that they're doing that encourages customers to actually not claim by living right,
by going to the gym,
going to the gym, by driving safely, all those things, right?
If I was to interject, I really like Discovery, and I think for all the reasons that you just said, and I think it's fantastic. With the bank, I'm also, as much as how I use it, I think from an experience point of view, the people that I've dealt with have been fantastic. Yeah. Discovery is not sponsoring this video. I promise you it's not. I'm speaking out of...
Even ShopRite didn't sponsor this video.
ShopRite didn't sponsor. They're welcome to, but they did not. And the people that I dealt with at Discovery, they've treated me very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their customer service is really top notch. I
great.
use Discovery for my car insurance.
Yes.
It's really good. But that's that also. But the Vitality, what they're doing in that Vitality
It's
partnership,
fantastic.
it's just fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And then the fact
Yeah.
that they were able to kind of export it globally and
It's
get
true.
that partnerships on, like it's just fantastic,
John
right?
Hancock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I believe that they still can grow that element of Vitality, and they still can grow the bank, and they still have a problem of debt that is still sitting in their balance sheet.
Okay.
But I believe that there's still going to be growth. I still believe that they can grow that business.
I understand.
So that's what I like about it.
Discovery.
Yeah, I really do. So maybe a question for you.
Yeah.
When you were choosing these companies, we discussed in the last episode, we were talking investment strategy, right? Did you think about diversifying one when you were actually like, I want to tap into your mind when you were thinking about selecting these companies?
Yeah.
What was going in your mind in terms of, okay, I'm investing in a company that is in banking. Is my next one going to be in commerce? And also we'll talk about the value.
So with diversity, yes, I think in any investor's mind, diversity always plays a role, whether you want to or not. So even if you don't diversify, it's because you've consciously made a decision not to diversify.
Okay.
So yes, in my investment rationale, diversity was definitely a factor. So I went for an operator in the banking, financial sector, as well as the entertainment, media, technology sector. Very different. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Obviously, too much diversity does dilute the concentration. You really don't want too much water in your oros.
Yeah.
Right. It needs to be just right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did play a role. I wanted some sort of a financial play. Then I also wanted some sort of a play that touches everything else. So with Naspers, it does also touch a little bit in the financial side as well through the fintech plays. But yeah, diversity, it should play a role. It really, there's a saying, not really there's a saying. It was Warren Buffett who said that it's okay to put your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket like a hawk. Which that maybe is okay.
Yeah.
But with the one of the benefits of diversity is that you can sleep better at night knowing that if one sector goes to hell in a handbasket, there's also other sectors that kind of keep the peace in a way.
Yeah.
Did diversity play a role?
Yeah, I did. I think I did think about it afterwards, but when I was thinking about it, I was just thinking about, I was doing that thing of, okay, what's happening in the economy?
Yes.
Right. What is the industry that is going to capture that growth? Right. For me, it was, okay, there's a lot of digitalization that is happening.
Yes.
Right. I like risk, but I'm not going to invest in a tech startup, in a tech company that is listed. I feel like it's a very risky.
Wild statements.
It's a very risky environment unless I'm talking about a Meta, or I'm talking about a Google, or I'm talking about those are relatively grown companies. But from a tech, but we don't even have much of pure tech companies that are listed anyway in South Africa.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We don't have. Naspers is an investment holding companies, even though majority of it's kind of plays into that tech of it, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking. But it was like, okay, pure technology in South Africa, it's kind of out to actually invest purely, to find a company that is purely tech, like a purely Google, that is software, or an Oracle whatsoever.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
So I thought about that. So I'm like, okay, cool. What is the next first thing? Financial services. There's a lot of invention in financial services. I thought, okay, Discovery is one of the babies in the financial services sectors.
And people forget that Discovery, I think it was only founded in 1992.
Yeah.
It's still a baby, relatively speaking.
Yeah. But it's a very massive company.
It's massive, but I'm saying, like, relatively speaking to other players in the game, like for this Sun.
So I was like, okay, there's that. I'm like, okay, I looked at Discovery. I liked it. and then from other things, just from an understandable market,
Yes.
purely sustainable business,
Yes.
low risk business, retail. I was like, that's my game.
It really is.
Yeah.
It
So
really
that
is,
was
yeah.
kind of the thing. But then afterwards, I thought, okay, does this diversify my portfolio? Right. If something goes wrong in one of those, does it affect either? Not necessarily. And then I was like, okay, ticks that box as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, like what I like about the second part of your investment, so ShopRite that you just mentioned, I like how defensive it is. So come recession time, good time, bad time, people are still gonna need their toothpaste.
Exactly.
People are still gonna need bread.
Exactly.
It's like that's not gonna change.
Yeah.
It's just that maybe through the good times, they maybe won't capture that as much as a Naspers.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, and I think it's just I like how you and I are different, especially how we look at investments. It's good. We have competing views, but at the same time, if you look deeper, they are competing, but they are also complementary.
Yeah.
Because I think diversity is what you have when you get a Tshifhiwa and a Nyiko. That's diversity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And they're
no.
completely different, right? It's not like, because you chose Naspers.
I did.
It's in communication, media, tech.
I did.
You chose Capitec. It's purely banking. I chose ShopRite. It's purely retail. I chose in Discovery. It's a little bit of financial services and insurance. So literally, even if we didn't sit together and be like, let's choose the different companies, when we came together, we saw how different our taste is. Right, and it's different
awesome.
how it is in terms of the market, right?
It's awesome. I absolutely love it.
But let's talk value.
Yes.
Why did you think it was the right time to enter into a Capitec or a Naspers or whatever? What did you look at? Any metrics? Did you look at anything? What is it that you looked at?
What I looked at, well, with Capitec, I think at the moment it's at about 1,500 rand, 1,600 rand a share.
Yeah.
This company is a comfortable 2,000 rand a share. We spoke about short-termism last episode. Please check it out.
Yeah.
But I think with Capitec, it still has room to grow. It's got a very high PE ratio, of which I'm going to describe what a PE ratio is now.
Yeah.
But because of the moves that they're making and the diversifying effect of the business bank that's going to have on the entire company, as much as how the PE ratio is high relative to other banks, I think the price is still a little bit being undervalued.
Okay.
That's why I came in.
Okay.
I came in. The value that I saw is that I said that it still has room to grow. And I think that's what value really is. You know, we want to buy low and sell high.
That is really the whole point.
That's where the value lies, right? It just can't be high and then, and then it goes the opposite direction. So with Capitec, the business bank, what they're gonna do with the business bank, using their current banking systems as a chassis already. The value's there. The price, as high as it may seem to be, is still undervalued. That's where I got that value from. And then from Naspers, I think I answered the question. It's because of that cash cow in China. It's still there.
It's still there.
And so I like the way you framed your question, in that you said that what is the value, and because it's important to see where people should come in. There must be clear sight of value. There must be, this is the reason why I'm taking up a position in this company, because I see future economic benefits. So for me, Naspers is still...
That was a purely accounting statement.
Future economic benefits.
The accountants will be so happy to hear that statement.
Especially after I disappointed them with my asset definition last week. Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think that was a similar approach with mine, right? I was just like, right now, ShopRite is a little bit expensive, right? It's trading at like 200 and something. But I was like,
let me just get that figure exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, but this is a company I can hold for long term, right? I can't remember what the PE ratio was. I think it was at the ranges of 16.
So the price is at the moment, ShopRite is at 239 Rand a
Yeah.
share with a PE ratio of 21.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's a little bit expensive.
What is PE
ShopRite,
ratio again? What is PE ratio?
The-
Let's just explain.
P ratio, it's price earnings ratio.
Yes.
So you've got the price that the markets determine,
Mm.
and then you've got the earnings per share
As a denominator.
As a denominator. That is your profits at the end, for lack of a better explanation. That's the
Yes.
profit at the end, and then you divide them by the number of shares,
Yeah.
and then you get that earnings per share. Then you
Yes.
go take your share price, and then
Yeah.
you divide by that, right?
Correct.
So essentially what it really means is that this is how much you're paying per each earning.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a P ratio of 21 for a ShopRite,
Mm.
that's really expensive.
It is.
Right?
You're right. It is. Yeah.
That's really expensive. For me, a ballpark or a more reasonable PE ratio for ShopRite to enter at, it's it's around 18. Like at 18, that's 18, 19, that's a PE ratio of ShopRite that's that reasonable.
I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
But the reason why I entered now was because I believe that this is a long-term investment that I can own. A price of in the last 5 years or so, ShopRite was able to get into around about 280 a share. I believe it can still get there and even surpass.
So there's still room.
There's still room for growth, right? We've seen that in the past.
Yeah, we have.
They still had the element of Africa in the time when the price was around 280. But I believe that what the next growth phase for ShopRite is going to comprise of can be a catalyst for the price to get to that levels. Right. And a Discovery, it's purely undervalued, right? In my opinion, there's a lot of things that are not correctly priced. I did say that the Discovery Bank itself, in terms of sum of parts, sum of parts is when you take the different companies under a group, value them individually, and then you put them together and you get a value, right? In that sum of the parts, for me, I believe that Discovery is still undervalued.
Yeah, it's trading at Discovery is trading at 149 Rand a share with a PE ratio of 19.5.
Yeah.
And I think I was just thinking, as you were describing PE ratio, you did it beautifully. I think also another thing to determine the PE ratio, or rather what the PE ratio determines as well, is how is the price valued at the moment. So if the PE ratio is high, this is just the mathematics, because the formula is price over earnings, meaning that the price is outstripping the earnings, or rather it's growing at a much faster pace than the earnings. And ideally you'd want, and that's you can surmise that is some sort of over-evaluation. And then if you have a company with a low PE ratio, meaning that the earnings are beating the price, I mean, that's what you want. That's a diamond in the rough, isn't it?
Yeah.
It means that the market is not pricing this thing properly, because it's clearly performing, and it's performing above its weight, yet the price is not moving, and that's what you want.
Probably that's what the market believes, is that it's not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
It could be that they believe the earnings are just once off. They're not going to repeat that cycle over time to actually keep sustainably earning those growing at that phase.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, a good chat, man.
It was a good chat.
It was good chat. It's interesting. I think we'll see how these companies actually grow and stuff like that. But before we end the conversation, what is in your buy list other than the two companies that you mentioned? One or two?
I think, given my risk tolerance, given my risk,
is it high or
appetite,
low?
It's high. I mean, look, I've got Capitec and I've got Naspers in my portfolio.
Yeah.
I think that should tell you that it's high.
Yeah.
I'm looking at another. I'm not looking at a defensive share. I'm not looking at. I'm looking for something that will go after it.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, when people are scared, I think that's when a good investor develops a liver and has a full-blown go. When people are selling, that's when you should be buying, I believe. So I'm definitely looking at a share in a company of which I think is going to go after it. Something that's different, to yours,
Mm.
because I was actually thinking about Discovery.
Mm.
But I will actually mention the company in our
Yeah.
next
Okay.
episode.
Very mysterious.
I'll
Very
mention that. But I will
very
add
mysterious.
I will add another company.
Okay.
And it's gonna be aggressive. You?
Okay. Yeah. I think for me in the last few weeks, I added Tungela on my own personal account.
Tungela Resources.
Yeah. So the reason why I ended Tungela is because I just wanted the dividends. They're very aggressive on the dividends.
Extremely
side.
dividends.
They pay ridiculous dividends.
By the way, this is a person that is not interested in dividends, and now they're buying a anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I was testing your strategy, right? If it fails, this is all on you, my brother. This is all on you. This is all on you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Tungela is trading at. When I bought it was trading at 131.
Cool. Now it's at 135. Yes, whatever this guy touches is turning into gold. I don't like it.
So I bought at 131
Yeah.
and really it was just a purely dividend strategy.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe it's sustainable how they're paying the dividends.
Me too.
I think it's gonna stop at some point and everyone is just gonna realize that no man, this company has just been distributing, because Tungela spun out of which one company? Anglo, right? And with that, for them to be paying dividends like that, I don't know if it's because I believe Anglo still has some stake in the company, right? So I don't know what the rationale is. Does that mean they don't have plans to reinvest back into the business? To actually use that capital for better growth in the company, but they would rather distribute it to shareholders.
I don't know.
Right?
I also don't want to step into an area of too much conspiracy thinking, but I'm just thinking that since the was it Russia? Yes, it was Russia who invaded the Ukraine.
Yeah.
The commodity prices. The scarcity that it has caused amongst the big commodities, coal being included, fertilizer, a big one. Omnia
but
shareholders.
I think the commodity prices have corrected in a way, because if you look at the gas prices, right?
Yeah,
they have corrected in a way, because I mean it's not 30 rand per petrol.
I think maybe they're correcting, not fully corrected.
Yeah, not fully.
But I'm trying to explain some sort of a rationale for the dividends, because it doesn't make sense. I do agree with you in that the dividend yield has been consistently double digits.
High.
And I get it. I mean, as a shareholder, I know some shareholders of Tungela. You're happy. And I'm saying stay happy, receive your God bless you as you receive your dividends. You know what? It's amazing. And but for me, I my spidey sense now tingling. I'm like, okay, what's the aim here, chaps? Why are you paying out so much dividends? And is your business model so good that you're going to continue this? Because
extra cash.
It's another accounting term that that kind of creates a constructive obligation. And now turning back from a situation.
You're on the roll, man. With this accounting terms, you're on the roll, man. Is this the Lakers jersey?
I'm channeling my inner LeBron James, but that causes an expectation that this is going to continue forever. And as soon as when it stops, when those shareholders that have been happily collecting their dividends every year, they stop collecting dividends because the company has not declared, you're opening up yourself for some lawsuits.
Exactly.
So I think, without getting into
not lawsuits per se, but a lot of sell-offs.
I would even go as far as lawsuits, because I mean, with a constructive obligation, or rather some sort of an expectation, that obviously it's an indirect play in terms of is this a binding contract, but I think you're going to get some chancing shareholder who's actually going to take these people to court.
Okay.
They tried to do that with
Taking
Shell.
chances.
Yeah, they tried to do that with Shell during COVID. And I won't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if something like that should happen, God forbid, but if something like that should happen, I'm not going to say, oh, this is such a surprise.
Yeah. Have you sold any
Nope.
Or you're planning on selling any?
No, not currently. Obviously, this is not a sprint.
Mm.
This is a nice, slow, steady jog. So once something fundamentally changes, then I'll think about selling. But I'll mention it on the Investment Candle podcast.
I actually sold Naspers.
You sold this
about
guy
a month ago. That's why I was interested. I'm like, this guy is buying. I'm selling Naspers, so that's quite interesting.
Okay,
that's quite interesting. So someone believes in Naspers.
Yeah.
I am saying, look, I'm done with Naspers. A portion of my money, I need it back.
Okay,
I didn't sell out of it completely.
Yeah.
So I just a portion of it.
Cool.
But just to wrap it up, right?
Yes.
Do you think what we discussed, right? Is it too detailed for people to actually do? Or is it something that I know you speak about the intelligent generalist.
Generalist, yeah.
Do you think this is something in the ballpark of the intelligent generalist?
Yes, I think it is. I can spew things such as constructive obligation and all that, PE ratios, but you always like hold me accountable and saying that what is that, or whether if you say something and I say what is that, can you explain that to our viewers and listeners?
Yeah,
we try our best to break it down as simple as possible. Not only do we try our best to break it down as simple as possible, but we're doing it with you. We are investing as we are speaking. We are investing. We're not just speaking. You're seeing with the portfolio check, the next portfolio check is even going to be better. It's going to be simpler. As we grow, we are going to get more simpler.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is right up the alley of the intelligent generalist. Do you?
Yeah, I believe so. I think this is something that, anybody, if they want to make an investment, because remember, at the end of the day, this is your money you're parting with.
Yes, correct.
Then you should be able to know exactly what you're investing on, right? This is why I don't invest in Bitcoin, because I don't understand it. But we will have sessions where we'll talk about all these other alternative investments, right? But that was just a point to say I don't invest in something that I don't understand.
Me too.
Right?
There's just no way.
If I don't understand it, I can't put my money in it.
There's absolutely
right?
no chance.
And it's the same way if you want to invest in the stock market and you want to invest in a certain company, spend a little time to actually understand what the company does and who the people are going to manage your money.
100%.
Because that's basically it, right? If I'm putting money on ShopRite, whatever those guys do, it's going to drive up or down my money. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, good chat, man. And I'd like to say thank you so much to our Investment Candle subscribers. Please like, comment. And out of this discussion, I want you guys to actually share your thoughts on the comment section.
Challenge us
on what you think. And also, questions, please. Reach out to our social medias. Send questions that we can deal with. In the next episode, I think we'll have a first few questions that we can discuss that people have asked, because I believe that we've covered a lot of ground in this one.
Yeah, we have.
But other than that, from Nyiko and I, thank you very much and have a blessed one.
Awesome. Cheers guys.